What's going on, you guys? I know it's been a millennium and a half since I last uploaded, but I recently did really well with one of my favorite decks of all time, being Unchained, being the Fiendsmith version, and I did really well at Attack of the Giant card at YCS SAC. I got second place, so close to snagging the first giant card, but it's okay. It is what it is, you know, I'm playing a bit of a rogue deck, so kind of expected it. But the fact that I got that far is pretty crazy to me. I did a deck profile video already that was just a quick little short that should be on the channel right now. If you haven't checked that out already, if you want to get more of just like exactly which cards I play, this will be more of like a combo lines and test hands video to kind of give you an idea of what the deck's supposed to kind of do. I've seen a couple different variations of the deck. When I was building the deck at first, there wasn't really anybody who was piloting it too much or really putting in a whole lot of like information on like what kind of cards to run. So I kind of put it together on my own through some different testing and stuff. So this is kind of the result of quite a few weeks of different types of testing. And basically what I thought would be like the best kind of meta calls for the format. One thing I do want to note is I am running the Fiendsmith package, but I'm not running the Underworld Goddess of the Closed Moon because I felt like the deck didn't really have a whole lot of potential for like linking off bodies and just kind of giving them away for like a link to, especially because the deck already kind of loses, kind of hard to nib, so you really want to try to avoid that if you can, because then your end board would be like literally nothing. So it felt like it wasn't really worth it. So you'll see in the extra, I don't really run that. But what I do run is instead is a really nice bridge to both engines, which is Tour Guide. This card basically, if you open this card in your hand, you basically win the game if it resolves, because you're setting up like your entire board through pretty much everything. But I'll kind of go into it, something like that. You should almost always be ending on some form of like Caesar with Chamber, or like Oppo with Caesar, something like that. It's really easy, especially if you have this card plus like one or two pieces of the other engines, to basically end on your entire board, which is like something like Oppo, Caesar with Chamber, potentially with Escape as well. So the deck has like a lot of layered interactions, which is really, really nice. So I want to start off by saying almost your entire combo line revolves around Aruha plus any trap. And so this should basically give you full combo through nib. Oh, well, maybe not necessarily through nib, but it should give you full combo while being able to play around nib. And so the most basic combo line of this is, I'll just show you really quick so you get an understanding of kind of what you're looking for when you're trying to go through some of your combos, is basically either Aruha or Shavara plus trap. Ideally, if you're going to go the line where you don't care about being Fiendlocked, that you want Aruha because you can play through more things that way and end on Caesar a little bit easier. So for example, we'll go Aruha, pop the trap, trap to summon Shayama. I go Shayama, pop Aruha. The reason why I do this is because it plays through Imperm on the Yama a little bit better, which a lot of people tend to do. If you're playing against this deck, to be honest, the best thing you should do, if all you have is one Imperm, is just hold it for your turn to Imperm like the Caesar or something. But a lot of people try to choke you on the Yama, and if that happens, you can still continue to play through. So you go Chainlink 1 Yama, Chainlink 2 Shavara to set. This also plays around Ash really nicely, but if they Ash, they probably should Ash like straight in the beginning. You're gonna set whichever trap you haven't used, then you're gonna resolve Yama to add back Shavara. Or if you start with Shavara, you add back Aruha, whatever. You add Aruha. If this ends up getting impermed, you still have Shayama to pop this and go into full combo, so you're pretty much just still chilling. You can add this back later off of the rage, so you're not really worried about it. But basically what you're gonna do here is you want to hold this in hand to play through nib, so you go Shayama pop, effect to summon Sarama, link these two. This goes back to the bottom, which is actually really important. And in this combo, we're gonna be popping the rage to add to resolve the Sarama, and then basically we want to set the Chamber here. You could also set Escape if you already have more like follow-up ready to have like another Unchained online. That way you could like trigger the Yama on your opponent's turn and bring back the rage or whatever. It really kind of depends on the situation. I always bring back Chamber just to play around nib a little bit better. And then it pops this. This is gonna add you back your Aruha. Now you have follow-up for next turn as well. One thing to mention too is that I always like to keep Yama engraved for like weird like oh shit moments where you just kind of like need it on your opponent's turn. Some combos like to run through the Yama early. I prefer not to, but that's just a me thing. Shavara pops Sarama. Sarama effective summon from deck. So we're gonna bring back the Shayama. This ends you on Caesar plus Chamber. And then now you can actually summon back the Rage on your opponent's turn. Link off, make SP. And then you have it was like 4 interruptions. You remove one body off the Rage, one body with the SP. You still technically have the SP banish on when your opponent activates a card effect, so you can kind of count that as like an interruption. I try not to because a lot of times people try to get rid of it before you can do that. And then you have the 2 off the Caesar. So it's somewhere around like 4 to 5 interactions just off of the simple basic starter combo there. And also what I like about it too is that it's layered, so even if they have like Dark Ruler or something, they can Dark Ruler your guy, but you don't really give a fuck because you still have the rage and you can still keep going from there. So you have a lot of stuff like that. Next up, I want to show you basically what you can do with basically every combo piece in hand. So it's basically Engraver, Tour Guide, and the Trap. This should give you basically everything you need. So you start with Engraver, get the Tract, activate the Tract, add Lurry, effective Lurry to special itself. What's nice too is that this initial part plays through Bystials because you don't have any monsters on the field until you put Lurry on the board, which means that you can play around Bystials kind of nicely. You can go Requiem effect with priority to play around Bystials a little bit better as well, to then summon another Engraver. Now obviously here you can get Bystial when you try to use the Engraver effect, but let's just say you don't. What you can do too is with this hand, since you already have an Engraver engraved and you have like more stuff in hand, you can actually save the Engraver for later for like a level 6 if you want, and just go normal summon Tour Guide effect. And I believe this will be the 5th summon. So you can actually get nibbed here, but even if you do, you don't care because you have a Trap in hand. Rhino can dump the Shayama, and you have full combo from there basically after the nib. And you still have the Engraver effect engraved too, so you don't really care about nib here. What you can do too is link these two off. Into the link too, you can go Rhino. This can dump you a lot of different things. You can dump Shavara if you want like an extra trap setup. Personally, since just in case you get nibbed, I would rather have follow-up, so I would actually dump the Shayama. And then we go sequence effect, shuffling back these two, to then make Lacrima effect to special back one of your Engravers. What's nice too is even if one of those gets hit by like a Bystial, you're still perfectly chilling. Let's put these guys over here because we want to keep these spaces open a little bit. What you can do too here is you have a couple different choices. You can make a 3-mat Oppo with the sequence, or you can instead, if you're scared of your opponents going Talon's Take, because that's the biggest threat to your board is Talon's Take, you can actually make it with one less material by going Yama first. Yama effect to then get Shavara. Yeah, Shavara's nice. And this will give you a 2-mat Oppo. Like I said, if your opponent nibs you at any time throughout this line, you don't really care because you still have the Shayama plus the Trap in hand, so it doesn't really matter. And so these will basically get you 2-mat Oppo. You have Lacrima on board, so that way you can continue to have easier access to a 6. You could have also linked this off and shuffled back one of the Engravers if you wanted to as well. That just to get the burn, but I wanted to keep an extra Engraver in there so I could bring back the Engraver next. So actually, if you really wanted to, what you could do, you could actually just do it right now because you don't really care. Do this, make Caesar. Obviously, this board is still going to always end to Imperm and Nib, which is really unfortunate, but you know, it's just how it is. Very few decks can play through both, and even if they do, they don't set up a crazy board after that. Shavara to pop, summon. You can get Aruha here. Shayama, pop. And this gives you basically your entire combo line from here. And you can go... You actually should be able to set up both through this. So you link these two. This will go back to the bottom. Into Rage. And then Shavara will set the other trap, which is going to be Escape. So like I said, with this line, you can actually set up both traps. And you can actually keep Shavara in hand, which is really nice. Because you go this, you pop this, add back Shavara. So now you have both traps live. You have Shavara, and if your opponent does go Talon's Take, it's really nice because you can go Shavara, pop your own Caesar. That way they don't take your Caesar. If they take like a 1-mat Oppo, you're like, okay, it's whatever, I don't really care. You can escape pop it, something like that later. So you're not really too worried about it. So you have like a lot of versatility and a lot of flexibility with this line. Obviously this has everything. One of my favorite parts about this deck is the versatility and flexibility of it. And so basically, like, no matter what hand you get, you can almost always guarantee to find a way to at least your Unchained combo, or if not, then your Fiendsmith combo. So you should have one or the other, if not both. And Tour Guide, like I said, gives you access to both. So I just want to shuffle up a little bit. We'll go with like a random test hand here just to, okay, this hand's busted already. This is literally all engine. You're going to play through basically a lot of things that your opponent tries to set up, as well as you are going to be able to have access to both engines. Honestly, since we have the Shavar in hand here, I would just normal summon the Tour Guide Special Rhino. This will get you access to your, actually, you know, I could just go through it. So this is obviously like probably more engine than you're ever gonna open, but just assuming that you open this, you have no access to your Fiendsmith stuff currently. I guess I'll just show you how to access it. So you go summon the Rhino, link these two into Yama. Like I said, we have the Shavara in case they hit the Tour Guide with a Imperm. But if they hit it with Ash, and obviously you just burn the Ash and that's fine. You're just not gonna have access to your Fiendsmith combo, which personally I'm not that big of a I don't think that's that much of a problem, because ending on Caesar plus Trap is still like more than enough for like a lot of decks. Aside from like weird stuff like Kashtira and Flunder, but that's whatever. So we dump that. Yama's gonna add us. We already have everything we could possibly need in hand, to be honest. So you could just add something like a bomb for follow-up. Doesn't really matter. We're gonna want to search a trap here with this. Doesn't matter which one. Set it. One thing I would do here though is I would recommend, if you have both in hand or access to both, I would try to hit this with Shavara, because that way when you go the Fiendsmith stuff later, you can make an Oppo really nicely. You can actually make an Oppo really nicely even without that stuff, and make that first and then deal with the Fiendsmith stuff later. This is going to give us our Shayama. I'm going to link these guys into Rage. Shavara is going to set us a card. The other one, like Escape. And then here, if you want, you could do like, you could just start the Fiendsmith stuff. You can go Shayama, target this to pop, effect to add back. You can add back any Fiend, you add back Engraver. Oops. Engraver, pitch itself, get you tracked. You go the full combo line to play through Nib basically, because then you can basically make an Oppo before you finish your combo. And then you still have, this is going to go to grave at some point, and you have Aruha in hand, so you can always continue on the combo even after you get nibbed, assuming you get nibbed through the Fiendsmith side of things. So it's pretty goated in that sense. Sometimes you might open up some weird hands like Engraver plus like nothing else. One thing that's really cool about the deck is that you can use Engraver by itself. I'll show Engraver by itself, and I'll show you can do it with the trap and stuff too, to get basically access to your entire Unchained line, because obviously Engraver by itself is going to either put up like a Caesar or like an Oppo with like 3 negates, which is cute, but like I said, 1 Imperm kind of clears that, as well as 1 talent, stuff like that. So I don't like to go the line of only doing the Fiendsmith stuff unless my hand is like really bad, or that has like a lot of hand traps, in which case I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just use that stuff on the crackback on my turn. But we'll go Engraver effect, tracked effect, Lurie. Like I said, the cool thing about this deck is that you pretty much are always starting off with the Fiendsmith stuff if you have it. So your opponent doesn't really know like what you have in your hand, so it's kind of hard to hit. Because you can hit this stuff, which is cool. Like you could Ash the Requiem or whatever, but then I still have Engraver engraved to then keep on going. As well as if I have another card in hand, I basically still have everything, so it doesn't really matter. We're gonna go Engraver effect, putting back the Lurie, summon sequence. So the interesting part here is this is the reason why I run the Aerial Eater. So for example, we're gonna go in sequence effect. We're gonna put back 2 light fiends, so 2 fiends with the same attributes, to summon out Aerial Eater. So we're going to Aerial Eater effect to dump. We're going to dump Shavara effect. Probably want to set Chamber here because we're a bit weaker to Nib, so we want to be careful with that. Next up, we're going to go ahead and link these 2 off. Into Yama effect to add back. I would probably add, doesn't really matter, I guess. I would add Aruha here. And basically you have full combo from here again. Like I mentioned, this gets you through the rest of your combo. And allows you to keep going to set up your regular Unchained line only through the Fiendsmith stuff, which is kind of nice. Obviously, if you have more extenders and stuff, you can actually have different ways of doing things. So like, for example, if we were to start with Engraver plus the Trap, we can actually do some nice little cutesy little things. We'll go through the regular stuff: Engraver, Lurie, Requiem effect, summon Engraver effect. One thing you can do too, actually, that I was thinking about with the other combo, you can actually use tracked here to fusion summon, and then you can actually make the Lacrima to give you an extra light fiend in the grave to special this back. This will again link into the link 2 again, and then you can actually have an extra light fiend in grave, so that way you could special the Aerial Eater out of your graveyard for later for an extra 6. That's one thing you can do. It kind of burns through 2 engravers though, which is a little bit scary, so I try not to do it that much. But just something you can do as like an option. So we have these engrave. Yeah, engraver effect is special. Link 2. Sequence effects. Lacrima effect. Link these 2. Yama effect to add like Aruha or something, doesn't really matter too much. And then you can still make an oppo with these, and you can still continue comboing off with just the Aruha plus chamber. From there, you can do stuff like that. You can do, one of the harder lines is engraver plus like a monster to summon. I think it becomes a little bit more complicated because you have to kind of do like jump through some hoops. This is probably the line I was talking about where you'd want to go through and do the track to summon the Lacrima before going into the Link 2. That way you have more bodies and stuff to summon. So you can do stuff like that. These are usually the games where like Aerial Leader does come up, because otherwise your engine would be kind of weird. You have to do some like super like roundabout ways to get to the trap, to get to Aruha to pop. So it's a little bit weird that way. I tried the deck with Necroquip. I didn't like it personally. I found that it was not really all that helpful. It's helpful sometimes, but I'd rather have the Aerial Leader just because it gives me access to more of like my Unchained side of the engine than the Necroquip does. Plus, I usually have like an extra body to summon from hand whenever I go the Engraver line anyway, so I'm really not worried about it. And even if I have to burn the Engraver effect engrave, it's not the worst thing in the world if it means the rest of my combo is backed very strongly. Oh, this hand's pretty bad. Okay, this is one of those situations where getting the Shayama out of your hands is gonna be really it's gonna be a pain in the ass. We can make it work, but it is not the best. Let's see. You have to normal Aruha, honestly, which really sucks. And then Shavara pop it. Effect. This is where a bomb comes in. Also, one thing about a bomb too is that if you pitch Lurie off of the bomb, you get a special it too. So it's really just gross the things you can do with that. Bomb pop this. Effect to set. Definitely gonna set chamber here. And then you have Shayama to pop, and then you have more of your combo going forward. But it's really, really bad. You're in a really bad spot. And this will probably get to summon like Rakea or something, and then after that you're gonna have to add the Aruha back to your hand off the Yama to pop it, and then yeah, so basically you do something like this go back to the bottom, which sucks. Yama effect to add, we're gonna add, oh sorry, this is supposed to summon also when you summon the Shayama. So we want to summon Rakea, add back Aruha pop, effect to summon, we're gonna summon Sarama, we have to do this. I'm not gonna have access to Caesar, I don't think. Oh, we do, but it's really, really bad. Okay, we go Sarama, effect to set. Pop Rage. We go Chainlink 1 Rage to add back a bomb. Chainlink 2 Yama effect to special back the Shavara. So we're gonna add this back. Then we're gonna, with Yama's ability, you can also pop a card you control. We're gonna pop Sarama effect to special. Give us Shayama. This will give us Caesar. And assuming that these cards were just like dead cards in hand, which is kind of hard to find because a lot of times these can be like hand traps or something. We'd still have a bomb with a potential discard, and then Caesar plus chamber. But obviously this hand we still have droplet and talents in case they try to do anything to us. But yeah, that hand was particularly bad, but we still end on the same thing. So like I said, this deck is really, really consistent and really good at ending on the same the same end board. The problem is that with it is that there's not a whole bunch more you can do. If you have like extra bodies and stuff, what you can do sometimes too is end on Muckraker to protect your field from stuff like Lightning Storm, which is what I'd probably do when I end on Desiree. One thing too is if I do have something like this, I will usually start with Prison first, because if Prison resolves and I get a search, if they ash this, that's fine. That means that my Engraver line is live. If they don't, then you get to add Shavara here. And now if I get drolled, I still have my standard Unchained line, which is totally fine. I might have to do a little bit differently because I want to make sure I get Aruha engraved before I resolve the Yama to add back, because that way I can add Aruha back. I'm gonna need the way this deck works is you either start with Shavara or you start with Aruha. Whichever one you don't start with, you add off the Yama or the Rage, depending on what your hand looks like. But the reason why I'm grabbing Shavara here is because Aruha will lock me into Fiends, and I want to make sure I'm not locked into Fiends when I use the Engraver. That way I can end on Oppo with the Engraver package. So I'll start with this. So then now if I go engraver, so obviously if I get drolled here, then I can't engraver, but it's fine because I still have my my Unchained line. Also, if I started with this and I got tracked, then tracked becomes a dead card in my hand, and I would have had this with tracked, which would then do nothing. So you always want to make sure you start with the prison if you're worried about getting drolled. So we go the standard line, Requiem, summon engraver. And then now if I had Aruha here instead of Shavara, then I'd be fiend locked when I try to summon the monster. And I want to hold the engraver link or the engraver resummon for later. So for example, I would set this Shavara, target to pop, effect to summon. And now if I get nibbed, I still have my full setup, because if I get nibbed here, which I believe was 5 summons, then basically like I can, once this goes to grave, it'll set the other trap, and this will be engraved, so I can pop the other trap with Shayama and then keep going from there. I have got nibbed here before. A lot of people get scared too because they see like a bunch of 6s on board. Like, oh shit, he's gonna make a Caesar. So I have got nibbed here before too, but if they do get nibbed here, I don't really care. Also, if I had a Aruha here and I got nibbed there, then it'd be a lot worse. So next up, we keep the Shayama on board, and then we go into sequence. We go effect of Shavara to set. What do we have? Escape. Yeah. Set chamber. We go effect to fuse. Lacrima effect. One thing to keep in mind too is if you are playing into time with this deck, you want to try to tract early. Where's my tract? I forgot to use tract. I forgot to add back tract. You want to tract early because you are scared about Bestials. So if you summon, a lot of times, or you're scared of like Imperm. So a lot of time you will have like the engraver plus the other engraver on board. That's when you tract, make Lacrima, and then you can you always guarantee the burn from there. But anyways, so now we have these guys. We go these guys into Oppo. Effective Lacrima to burn. We still have another engraver in here, I think. Yeah, so we can special back engraver later. I don't want to do it yet because I want to keep my Shayama because I still have, I need that for later. So Shayama target to pop. This will summon, actually, I don't think I want to do that yet. I think I want to go the engraver effect by putting back Lacrima. Link these two into Yama. Yama effect, add Aruha. Yeah, that's a lot better actually. I haven't used the on-field Shayama effect. Let me see. Yeah, we go Shayama, target to pop. Effect to summon. Summon out Sarama, like this. This goes back to the bottom, which doesn't really matter right now. Aruha effect. Add back Shavara. Effect of Sarama. Don't want to set escape. Pop that, I think. Shayama, target to pop. Yeah, we can do that. This will bring out Shayama. Then because we've already used the effect of Shavara in hand, we have to do a little bit differently. So we'll go Shayama, target to pop. This will be Chainlink 1 Sarama. Chainlink. Ooh, okay, we actually want to set chamber here. I think I might have messed something up in the combo, it doesn't really matter. We'll summon this. This can special back Rakea if you want. If you don't want to play in a super poly, then you can do it a little bit differently. You don't have to summon Rakea, you can summon something else. But for now, that's what we're going to do. This will make Caesar. And then this is your end board. There should be another way that you can do this that doesn't burn the Yama. But I'm forgetting what it is off the top of my head. I'm just trying to do these combos like really quickly. And then lastly are the combos with Desiree. So like I said, I side Desiree. And the reason I do that is because I don't think you need it in the main deck, because like a lot of the time you're not really worried about playing through board breakers too much. The deck inherently plays around board breakers pretty well, I'd say. I've gotten like double evenly before and still won the game, so I don't think it really matters too much. Sometimes they do matter depending on what they have. Like I said, Talents is a bit of a bitch, but other than that, it's fine. I do like Desiree for playing around stuff like Talents, Droplets, stuff like that, especially because you inherently set a trap in this deck, which means that you're always gonna have Desiree live through Droplets unless they send a trap, which most decks can't. So it's not too bad. So I'll show you the line really quickly for Desiree. Typically, you know, like Engraver, and then like Aruha+Trap or something. So you kind of want to just go through like you can start with the Fiendsmith stuff. I would probably scout it just for like ashes and stuff like that, at least for the Engraver. So like we start off with like Engraver. I don't think I want to give him a Bestial target really early like that. No, I think it's Technically, the best way to play the hand is to play around Bystials as well. So we'll go something like Aruha target to pop, Shayama target, summon. 1-2 as usual. It doesn't matter if you Fienlock yourself in this combo because you are going to end on what's his face anyway, Desiree. So it doesn't really matter. You're not really going for the Oppo line on this one. Set this, Shayama pop, summon, effect. Actually, on this line, let me see. Cause I want to try to set up a Caesar as early as possible. So I think for this, I want to go Shavara, pop. This will summon Rukea, effect of Shayama, effect, special, and then what we'll do actually is we'll make a Caesar here, because this also plays through Bystials because you haven't put any lights or darks in the grave yet. You've already burned through both your Shavara and Shayama effects, so you don't really care. Effect to add, get tracked effect. Where's my Lurie? Pitch Lurie effect. Link. Sorry guys, I've got cards literally everywhere. Effect. Summon Engraver. So now we can put Yama Engrave, I think. Oh, we haven't made a Rage yet though, which is kind of a problem. Actually, that's fine. So what we can do here is we can actually go Engraver effect, put back Lurie. Link these two off into Rage, Sarama effect. You actually set Escape here if you really want. It's not the best. If we want to play around Dark Ruler and stuff, then we can do that. And then effect to add, we can add back. I really wanted to add back Shavara, but it's fine. We'll add, you can actually add this for like follow-up. You can add a lot of different things. You got Aruha, you could add this. Doesn't really, yeah, already use the Reborn. No, we don't want to add this actually. That's a problem. We want to add, do we normal summon? I don't think we normal summon. We can add Rukea. Rukea's a pretty good normal. And then we can make these two. If you don't want to play into Super Poly, actually, yeah, if you don't want to play into Super Poly, then you keep the Sarama on board and normal summon this, and then link these two and link two. But it's whatever. I don't think a lot of people are really playing Super Poly right now. Link these two into the guy. Where is he? We'll go effect to fuse, putting back this, putting back this. Lacrima effect to special this, and then we go, oops. We go tracked, effect to fuse. If you want to if you're in game 3 and you want to secure the win, then what you can do is you can use Lacrima effect, but make sure you don't put back the sequence. You have to put back the Engraver, which is really unfortunate because it means you have no more Engraver for follow-up. But it's okay, you should be okay. Otherwise, I'm just gonna leave this in here for now. Then we go sequence effect to equip to Desiree, and then you just normal summon this. Or you keep Sarama on board if you wanted to play around Super Poly, because these two can be Super Polyed into Mud Dragon, or sorry, Garura, which is really unfortunate. And then you still have Yama Engrave too, and you have the Chamber. So if they go stay my main Dark Ruler, you can actually flip up Chamber to Chain, then you go Desiree effect to negate the Dark Ruler or Droplet, whatever they have. And then you can play from there. Also, this will special out the Rage, then you can then do stuff with their board after that. So you have a lot of different options. Plus you have the Caesar, you have the Rukea pop, which doesn't really matter all that much, but you might want it to trigger Yama Engrave or something. You could even do that too if you didn't want to, if you wanted to do, if you have an extra card in hand, so if you have a random card in hand, you might want to actually summon something else off Chamber, so summon Aruha. The only problem is if you go Rukea pop, you're going to be locked into Fiends after that, so keep that in mind. You won't be able to summon IP later. You can go Aruha pop. This will be Chainlink 1. Chainlink 2 will be Yama, special back the Rage, or whatever. You can order those Chainlinks however you like. And then you go a bomb effect, pitching your whatever card to then pop a card in the field, and then you still get this to link into, you can still make Anguish, or you can make Muckraker if you want to protect your board, something like that. Yeah, you just can't make, I actually don't mind making Anguish here, because assuming that the rest of your board survives, which it probably will, on your opponent's turn, you just go Anguish to link off one of their guys into access code. then you go access code, target the Anguish. Now he's at 53. You have all these big ass bodies. You just go for game. It's like super easy to go for game if they keep Anguish on board, or even if you have it engraved plus like Yama. It's really easy to bring back, and then just make an access code and then OTK your opponent. So yeah, I know that was a lot, and I talked about it pretty fast and kind of went through the combos really fast, but I think that this deck has a lot to offer, and I wanted to go through like a lot of different potential combo lines you can go through, depending on what hands you open. The deck is very versatile. It's not as linear as it used to be, I don't think. I think it's a lot more flexible and a lot more... if you're good with the deck, you can navigate it in different kinds of ways. Like there were games where I had to go for the burn, but my opponent tried to Bestial me, and they tried to cherries my sequence, and I was still able to go for the burn just because the deck is really good at recurring stuff from the graveyard, like especially Fiends. So I was able to find a way to get double light Fiends both on hand and in field, so I could make Lacrima with Attract and be still be able to burn them from there. So I was able to kind of do a lot with this deck. The only thing is, unfortunately, it has a bit of a hard time with the current Snake Eyes matchup just because of how many resources they recur. Sometimes if they set up a weak enough board, you can kill them on the turn you get. But if you can't, then it's really, really hard to choke them after that. Obviously, Caesar does a really good job at doing that if you can get it out after you clear their board. But even then, it's still pretty rough. So that's kind of why. So I played against a lot of different decks. I played against a couple like not so great decks, Ice Barrier and some like water control deck. And then I played against Runic Stun, which the Wailing came in super clutch for, which is why I would not cut it. And then even in a later 3v3, I played against another Runic Stun deck, and this card just absolutely put in work. So Wailing was really good, as well as a Bomb. So those cards together are really, really good. And then I played against Snake Eye, and we had a pretty good back and forth. Ended up winning game 3 via time with Lacrima Burn. And then in the finals, I played against another Snake Eyes deck, which I got absolutely cooked by because my hand game 1 was decent, but he had Talents plus Droplet, which kind of just cooked me game 1. Game 2, my hand was really bad, and he opened Molcharmy and Imperm. So I was kind of just cooked. I think he even had like Nib in hand too, or something. I forget what, like second Imperm or something. But yeah, he just had the better hand game 2, which unfortunately it is what it is. You know, this is a rogue deck. Snake Eyes is still the strongest deck around right now. So them opening like 3 hand traps plus Snake Eye Ash is just basically GG's. So it'd be like that. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe if it helped out a lot. Sorry I haven't been uploading a whole lot. I've just been kind of really busy with like personal stuff. But yeah, I hope that the combos helped you guys out a lot. If it was a little bit fast, you can always go back to rewind the video and play at like a slower speed if that helps. I know I talk really, really fast, and I was even speeding up my speech on this one because I just wanted to get through as many combos as I can think of as possible. I'm just going off the cuff. I didn't really write down any notes for this. If there's anything else you guys want me to clarify, I can go into more detail as well with the deck. Like I said, I love this deck a lot. I play it a lot. And I think I'm one of the only people who's really kind of like innovating on the deck and really trying to make it work a lot throughout the format. I really hope that the next format, they don't ban Yama and they give us our Sharvara back to 3. They probably won't, but it's fine. As long as they just hurt the Snake Eye deck a lot and Yubel. This deck doesn't do too bad against Yubel. It can be a problem sometimes, especially because like a lot of your stuff wants to destroy, and they get like a lot of pluses off of that. Phantom is busted. They gotta like limit that thing to 1. And this deck, in case you're wondering about how it does against Molcharmy, it's actually pretty good into Molcharmy. You only give them like maybe like 1, maybe 2 draws depending on the hand. But sometimes you get really, really bad hands where you have like Tour Guy plus like Fiendish Rhino in hand, and they charm you. You're like, fuck, that's already 2 draws plus whatever I have to add off Yama to then continue to play. And so it can snowball really badly if your hand's bad. But if your hand's decent, it shouldn't be that big of a problem. Against the new Molcharmy though, the Molcharmy for whatever it's called, the new one, the purple one, this deck really sucks ass into that. It's gonna be really, really bad. You have to just basically have Ash, and I'm probably gonna have to play a crossout build. Honestly, the 3 Drolls will probably just be crossouts with the Fuvaros or whatever, or I'll probably just or maybe I'll side one of those, or maybe I'll side those and I'll just have crossouts in the main with like Nib or something. I don't know, I have to figure it out. But yeah, the deck's gonna hurt really, really hard next format with that Fuvaros, but hopefully the ban list helps us out a little bit with making some of the other stronger decks really, really weak. All in all, I had a lot of fun with the deck, and hope you guys do too. But I do want to experiment more with like more decks and create different deck profiles for you guys. And let me know if there's anything else you guys want me to like upload, maybe like Master Duel stuff or anything like that. Feel free to just like let me know in the comments if there's anything else you guys want me to upload as well. I was considering maybe streaming. If people are into that, I might be down to do that. I could stream like Master Duel, also like other games that like aren't Yu-Gi-Oh related particularly. Also, I think there's like a new TCG TCG like simulator store or whatever that's coming up kind of soon. I actually really wanted to try that. It looks really cool, so maybe I'll stream some of that. But let me know if that's what you guys would be into. All right, catch you guys later.